All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. After my release of my last video on entity removal, there was a thought that came in that I really wanted to share with everyone. And it's really important to my work as a psychic intuitive, as a quantum healer, but it's also really important message to get out to everyone. I want to share an experience that I had with a lady that was referred to me, and she was convinced that I guess she had online gotten involved with some kind of a tribe from Africa, was doing some kind of philanthropy or charity work. And, anyways, she was convinced that she had Wicca energy attached to her. She was constantly paranoid about everything. Her current Reiki healer, she was paying her consistently thousands of dollars a month to constantly check in. She would be flying through the airport and she'd call her Reiki healer on demand and need her to check in and get rid of the demons and clear my energy and get rid of them. And so she lived in this state of paranoia and was putting a lot of pressure on her Reiki healer, I'm sure, who ended up letting her go actually because it was too much. And then she got referred to me. And when I worked with her, her main goal, like her request, was that I can basically take over that type of work to continue to just keep clearing the energy and keep getting rid of these entities and just keep getting, you know. And meanwhile, she was in a complete state of non coherence. So she was just ripping around like a Tasmanian devil, just very dramatic, very chaotic, very scattered, and didn't bring the empowerment into herself at all. She was outsourcing all of this work that should have been internal work to an outside source as a Reiki healer. So I picked up on this really quickly and I did take her on for a session. But what I made really clear to her was that when I tuned into her energy, it was basically like, yeah, this is more of an inside job. Have you taken any initiative? Have you taken any accountability to do any of your own work? And that just was not present in her. She was just outsourcing this type of work. To somebody who's not authentic, to somebody who isn't authentically tied and heart centered in their work, this would have been an easy paycheck, which is why the other Reiki healer did this for so long. You know, she was just collecting cash. But that's just not how I operate. And I don't want those types of ties in my business. And I don't believe in that. I believe in empowering people to walk their own path because I remember my first Reiki session as well. That really empowered me to walk my own path. And from there, I took all of the things that my spirit guides told me. I took all of the markers, all of the breadcrumbs, and I followed them and I did them. And I did all the things. And then when I felt like that had shifted and I intuitively felt like I needed to go back, then I went back for more. And then I would do all of those things. And I dug myself out of the trenches, and my whole life started to change and reform because of the internal shifts and changes that I was making and because of the behavioral shifts that I was making on the outside. But I took full responsibility and accountability and made that change happen within me and outside of me because of the coherence that I started to build and create and acclimate my body to, tune my body to that peaceful resonance within me once I felt that in my first Reiki session. So I truly like to empower my clients. It's not like, okay, come back next week and I'll clear your energy again. I'll teach people how to clear their energy so that they don't necessarily have to come back. But there's billions of people in this world. And I don't think that healers can be constantly coming back and to clear people's energy on a very small scale when they have such a big vocation. And that's why I don't withhold information from people because I want to help them. I want to empower them. I want that to spread forward because I want a world that heals. So when she came to see me and I tuned into her energy, I could see more so that there was this belief that there was always something there, that there was always something to clear, that there was always some dark energy. And I said to her, there's always going to be dark energy. There's always going to be negativity. There's always going to be dark energy around you. There's always going to be nefarious agendas, dark forces. But the idea is not that you try to get rid of them, because the more that you just try to get rid of them, it's a lot of effort that gets expelled and they'll just come back. Because if you are a vibrational match to those energies, because you're in a constant state of paranoia, you're discoherent, you're disharmonized, you're not taking any action, you're not meditating, praying, breathing, doing any active work to raise your own vibration, you are a vibrational match for these entities, these negative energies to keep reattaching themselves or see you as an easy target. Okay. So I said, this session is not about, I will help you to get rid of what's here right now. But my focus is on raising your vibration and raising you up and infusing you with God's source, universe, Reiki energy, the light, right? Human means light, if you break it down. And so I said, when you are light, lightness drowns out the darkness. If I light a flame or a little light bulb, it drives out the darkness. It's that light. And when I go in my meditations and I envision my chakras lighting up from source energy, because source energy is the light source like the sun. And when it shines through the prism, it creates the rainbow on the wall, AKA your rainbow body, your chakras. And so when source energy shines down into your crown chakra and goes all the way down to your root chakras, your entire rainbow body lights up, and it loves to generate energy out. It loves to push energy out. I always say, like a little Care Bear, rip open and they're beaming these heart chakra lights everywhere. I never actually watched the Care Bears, but I'm just using that as a reference point because it has stuck with people before. That's the way that you beam your light out when you're filling up, filling up, filling up, filling up with source energy. And your cup is so full that you start to overflow with gratefulness and love and gratitude and light, and beaming that out, ripple effect out into your room, out into your home, out into the city block, out into 2 city blocks, 3 city blocks, the whole entire city. You are radiating that love as a ripple effect, as a blanket effect, just exuding all of that. And it's not your own energy. You're simply a conduit for source to beam that light out. And that is how you become a vessel for source energy or God to shine through you. And I always, as a side note, also ask, if you're asking for some big things in life, you're asking for you to do great things and you have high expectations for yourself, simply ask for you to be an open vessel that source energy can flow through you, because then it's that amount of power, it's that amount of abundance, it's that amount of guidance, knowing, wisdom, gumption, inspiration, blissfulness, and light that shines through you. You don't have to muster it up yourself. There are times when it's appropriate to meditate because you're feeling really good, or if you want to raise your vibration, you have enough in you to go into meditation and raise your vibration. But there are times when you are so depleted and so desperate that you cannot even sit there and muster up any energy to do any visualizations or meditations or anything like that. It is a desperate prayer, right? So there's different tools in the belt to use at different times. But going back to my client's treatment, I said that you will always be a vibrational match for these entities to continue to reattach or find you if you don't raise your vibration. And she did not want to do that work. She was not happy about that. She wanted to have somebody on call to get rid of the demons, get rid of the energy, clear my energy. I'm sitting in the airport right now. I'm waiting to leave on my plane right now, and I just don't feel okay. I just need you to do this, and I'll e-transfer you this amount of money. Mm-mm. No, that's no. It's not right. It's not right. The way that I've experienced this in my life, because I've dealt with some demons as well, I have been a vibrational match to dark entities. I have been a vibrational match to toxic, abusive people in my past. The way that I shifted everything in my life was to focus solely on raising my vibration so that I was no longer a vibrational match for any of these things. And I started to watch my relationships break apart. I started to watch people fall away from me. I started to watch toxic people that just kind of just started to transition. They just started to float away in my life. And I started to experience more light, more love. I started to experience more universal synchronicities. The way that I perceive the world, my perception of the world became lighter, brighter, more hope. And the funny thing was that I moved away from the city that I had grown up in, where I was involved with very toxic people and people that I used to party with and all of that. And then when I moved back, I was wondering if it would be at all a struggle to avoid those people or if I would see them around and it would be kind of awkward because I have nothing to do with that kind of lifestyle anymore. When I came back, I didn't see anyone. And when I did, it was almost like they were kind of a backdrop person, honestly. I could sense there was like a veil that was in between us. And we were just on totally different vibrations. And they didn't come into my timeline and I didn't come into their timeline. Even though I kind of saw them in a distance, it was like two ships passing in the night. And I shared that with a girlfriend as well who lives in a really small town in Mexico. And she had done a lot of work to raise her vibration and raise herself up out of a toxic lifestyle. And she had gone away for a little bit and then was going back to this really small town. And she said, there's no way that I'm not going to run into these people. And I said, you're in a completely different timeline. You might not run into them at all. Or if you do, it will seem like there is just like this sliding door between you, a screen door. And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, no, that happens when you raise your vibration because you are in a different parallel universe. You're constantly shifting through different parallel universes billions of times per second based on your thoughts, frequency, and vibration and emotions. You can still see people but not be in that same timeline. And it'll just feel like there's this veil. And she called me back one day and she's like, oh my God, you're totally right. That's exactly what happened. It's just crazy. Either I don't see anybody at all, or I see them kind of off in the distance. They almost even look kind of hazy to me. They don't walk over. They don't say hi. We don't talk, but it's all good. It's not like there's this, you can't even feel this tense energy. There's just none of that. It literally just feels like there's this energetic screen door between us. And that kind of leads me into one more thing that I want to mention is that with my last video about talking about the splitting of timelines that's happening in 2026, whichever timeline you choose, remember, is the one that you are going to receive evidence of. You're going to receive evidence either way. Pick your timeline. If you choose to believe that this world is doomed and that we're screwed and that the economy is bad and that everyone is broke and everyone is suffering, then you will attract and you will encounter, and people around you will reaffirm that narrative. They will be broke. They will be suffering. They will be sending you news headlines. They'll be sending you Instagram reels. They'll also be doom scrolling. They'll be, completely enamored and overtaken and consumed by the world events. They will be getting their energy loosed. You'll help them get their energy loose. They'll help you get their energy loose. And it's just like a loose fest for your energy. When you shift into a higher frequency and you meditate, there's no way that when you do the work, I'm going to circle back to the very beginning about doing your own work. There's no way that when you do your own work to raise your vibration, that you will not experience the love, the light, the hope of source, the vision for something greater, the belief that something greater is happening right now. And I have to be reminded as well. Yesterday in my meditation, my guides, I said for thousands of years and hundreds of years, people have been in enslavement. They've been in the system of enslavement. They have been suffering for no reason. The controllers that start the wars, it doesn't have to be, but they start these wars and people suffer and they have suffered for thousands of years. And my guides were like, yeah, but remember what's happening right now. What's happening right now is that this transfer of light and into peace happens every 25,000 years. And you get to be here and you get to be a part of it and you get to co-create that with all the other light workers that are here on the planet that are also getting that vision. They're getting these downloads, they're raising their vibration, they're also feeling this when they meditate and when they do their own work, when they eat healthy, when they exercise, when they go out on a glorious day and they enjoy what's around them, when they make eye contact with people, when they love people, when they enjoy their plants, all these things, they raise your vibration when you're in a state of gratefulness. And what I noticed, and why the reason that I say that if you do this work, there's no reason that you will not see the light and start shifting. Because during COVID, when we were locked down, I watched how many people were basically it's like stuck inside their houses, didn't really have much contact with the outside world, the whole world shut down or whatever, if you did that. And a lot of those people did spend some quiet time and started meditating and started getting curious. There was a huge spiritual awakening that happened during that time because the noise was shut down, because the distraction and everything was shut down. A lot of people went inward. And when they came out, when they opened their doors back up and they came out, so many people all of a sudden had a vision, had gotten downloads, had gotten wisdom from a higher source, had this internal shift, an internal knowing that the world was going to change. And I questioned, I was like, how did all these people get this same message that I was getting? Because I was also getting a lot of messages during this time about how the world is shifting and that it is a reset, but it can go either two ways. There's this 3D timeline agenda, and then there's the 5D timeline agenda. There's the further to enslavement, constriction, binding, surveillance, but there's also this freedom, expansion, 5D, raising your consciousness, conscious evolution, lots of great things coming. There's that timeline too. And I'm like, where did all these people get these messages from? And it's because they took the time to start raising their vibration and getting curious. And they started meditating and they started getting these messages from a higher power, a higher source, more light, more love, more expansion. And then, of course, comes the hard work with that, where it's the shadow work, where you have to do the difficult work of letting the light shine onto the darkness and being like, okay, I got to take a look at this darkness. If you have a dark basement, you got to shine the light into all the dark corners. You're going to see some critters. You're going to see some dust, some cobwebs, some old possessions that you should probably get rid of, that kind of thing, right? I'm not going to like love and light the whole situation because there's some work to do for sure. But it's up to you to do that type of work. And my job is to help give people the tools of how to clear their energy, how to raise their vibration. My job as a quantum healer and a psychic intuitive on this planet is not to run around and be on demand and clear people's energy and come back next week and collect paycheck. My vision is much greater than that, and my reach is much greater than that. So, if you find yourself in this position, or if you've thought of a Reiki healer or a quantum healer in this way, in this light, if you've had this perception, or if you find yourself in that state of constantly feeling like you need to get rid of the energy, like you need to get rid of the bad energy, stop expelling your energy to do that. It's a lot of energy to try to get rid of that. I have had experience with that as well, and with intrusive thoughts. You can try to bat them out and try to push them away and try to push them away and try to get rid of them and get rid of them. But there's so much, that's so much energy output And if you're not doing anything to change your vibration, you will continue to be a vibrational match to that, to those intrusive thoughts, to all of that. So do something positive for yourself. Learn how to clear your energy, raise your vibration, go out and enjoy the life that is around you. Everything around you is beautiful. And again, as always, if you do want a treatment or a session with me, you can reach out to me on my Instagram page. My handle is I am Kiki Sita. In the link in bio, you will see beacons. You can simply click on that and scroll down, and you'll see the sessions that I offer. I hope you guys have a fantastic Thursday and many blessings to you.